I'm going to show you sort of my 2-year-long project I've been working on in crocheting, and this isn't like how-to crochet video because I don't think I'm doing it right, and there's some really good ones like that all over YouTube, and I'm definitely not a professional because it's taken me over a year to make this like blanket because I don't know, I don't do it so much. So I'll show you what I've done. So I have 2 bags here. A big one's over here, and this is just a little small one. In this small one, here's the yarn that I'm using right now. It's the cheapest one I could buy. Okay, so this is what I'm working with. I had made a whole bunch of these around last year, and they're all different colors. You see here's purple, green, brown. Here's green, purple, orange. And just like those 4 colors, 5 colors is white as well, in different variations, all random. I would just choose randomly. So I made a whole bunch of these little squares, and the intent is to sew them all together. But they're too small, and they make a very small blanket. So I need to make them bigger, and I'll show you what I have in my, and you can see I don't have very many left. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow. I'm almost done. Almost. And this bag is really big. And here I have like tons of these. And what I've done, just so, that's not a good one to show you. What I've done is I've taken the smaller square and I've added one more ring around it, one more square. And that makes it just, it makes it big enough that together they're going to make, it's still going to be small, but it'll be more like a throw. It won't be like a newborn baby blanket, which this would have been. And I've used brown around all of the edges to sort of unify it a little tiny bit more, make it a little bit more neutral. And then when I sew them together, you won't be able to see some obvious stitching. They'll blend a bit better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be adding one more ring to the outside. I can show you how I do it. I'm not professional. I'm really good at this sort of thing. I'm pretty sure my gauge is all off and it's all lumpy. So I feel like I'm going to sneeze because of allergies, so I might sneeze soon. I'm taking the thread from the middle of this ball. Oh, excuse me. So what I do is I go in not into the hole here, the big hole, but just kind of beside it into one of those V's, into the back. And then, this doesn't work because I need to be showing you from my, this is upside down, what I'm showing you. I hook this on, and then I pull it through here. So you can see it's through like 2 loops. And then I call that 1, and I loop backwards, 2, 3. And crocheting is all about, you sort of have one working loop, and you just have to bring it around everywhere. And I get rid of this extra tail, because that's just to hold the new color in. And then I go in through here, first by looping. I think this is called a double crochet, through the hole. Loop this around, come back out. And I have like all these loops on my thing, so I need to get rid of them bit by bit. And I go 1, 2. So now I have 2 sort of lines sticking up, and this is gonna make one of those shells. So I'm just gonna keep going, and this is the last one for the shell. There, do you see how I have this? It's really like a big lump. It's a big lump like this. See, these are lumps, and then we add all the lumps, we kind of connect them. So I connect them just with a little chain. I'm going 2 along, and then I'm going to go into the next hole. Trying to do this as flat as possible so you can see, but I know that it's not very clear. away from where I'm looking. I just finished another shell. So I go 2 chains, and then into the corner hole. Corner hall. Sounds like Kerner Hall, which is a concert hall in Toronto, which I've performed in many times. It's beautiful. Ta-da! Done another one. And now I need to make 2 going into this hole so that it makes a corner. So 2 stitches, and then back into the same hole. I keep leaning against the yarn so it's not coming freely. There, so you see, I don't know if you can see it, maybe from the back you can see a little bit better, but I have 2 shells that are going into the same one, so it makes another corner. But now I can keep going along the top. 1, 2, yeah, I'm going to show you from the back, so you can see how this is all coming together. And I have to move this down. The shell and then 2 stitches across, and a new shell. I don't know what they're called. I call them shells because they look like seashells, sort of. Done. Next, and another corner. Oops. If this looks really crazy hard to you, it's not. I actually, like, these are some of the very first things I ever crocheted, ever. So don't be afraid of it because it's not that difficult. I just watched a whole bunch of YouTube and instructional videos online, and then I was like, oh, this is actually not so bad. I mean, there are more complicated things you can do. This is one of the simpler crocheting things, I think. One of the simplest things you can do. Maybe some crochet teachers will think differently, but I think this isn't that bad. I've knitted before, which I think it's more complicated in some ways, because crocheting is where you sort of have a loop, and you're like kind of looping into each loop, and then you do it in sort of different ways. But that's all it is. It's just one loop. Whereas knitting is a whole bunch of loops that are all active at once, if that makes sense. And so it's so much easier to make a mistake. You sort of have to plan out more from the very beginning what's happening. When knitting, you can't just sort of go with whatever you want to do. But that's a bad thing, because knitting can be awesome. I like knitting. Crocheting is just a little bit, to me it seems like it's faster. Depends on what you do though. These are faster. If I were to knit these squares, I think it would take me even longer. So I'm not very fast at knitting. I really love this crochet hook. I don't even know. I bought it somewhere at some point before I really started crocheting. And then when I started, I was like, oh, I guess I'll use this crochet hook that I own. But I used it so much that it was cheap, and it was this plasticky, crummy stuff, and it split. Like the metal just kind of cracked out of the plastic, and so I have a lot of super glue and elastic bands on it holding it in, and it works. I love it. It's like a little grip. There's like 3 elastic bands really like glued onto it, if you were wondering what that was. Okay, so I'm just starting the last side now. Yeah, I started this like two falls, like fall of 2010, as I wanted to make it a gift for my boyfriend. Be like, here's a blanket. And I had finished most of those small squares by Christmas, and that like before then. But then I was like, I had laid them all out to start sewing them together, and was like, this is way too small. Because I'm not using a pattern or anything. I'm just sort of doing whatever I want. I don't know. Just, yeah, probably not so great, but whatever. I have more freedom. So I was like, I have to add borders to all of them. And it was not for his Christmas present. I bought him like a box of different kinds of colognes and beer and stuff. It was a good present. He used them all. He liked it. So, I mean, he knows about this blanket. It's not like it's a surprise anymore. So one day it will be finished, and maybe then it will be a surprise. Like, haha, you forgot about it. But I finished it. Okay, I'm done. I don't have scissors here, so 1 second. I just cut a bit off the tail. It needs to be long enough that I can weave it in. And then just loop it right through. Pull it tight. Pull that tight. So, with many of these squares, I have to go in and weave in all the tails. And for some of them, even, like this one here, see how all the tails are still sticking out, so I have to weave them all in for every color. And that's going to take a lot of work. That is my granny square. So these are each of these shells I was talking about, how those work. It's 1, 2, 3. It's 3 sort of lines, and they're like loopy lines. It's all twisted. And then here at the corner, so there's 2 of them going into one hole so that it makes this corner. If not, if there's only one, it would start to all kind of curl around and I'd get like a bowl effect. But I want it to lay flat. So I'm excited to sew these all together. Some more different patterns. All go together like that. It'll be a cool blanket. I hope you thought that was interesting, and see you later.